Yo, what is up? It is Troublemaking Tuesday, and Kyle and I are in Charlottesville, Virginia, rocking the airport,
Let's
talking
go.
about the labor shortage, the chip shortage, the battery shortage, and every other shortage you can imagine.
Everywhere I go, the people really want to know who I is and who I be. They stop and stare when they see me.
There's something particular about
About
doing the bounce in the middle of the most quiet.
It's very quiet and polite, probably a lot like Charlottesville.
Yes.
Probably quiet and polite. And our producer Isaac was like, "You guys are about to give everybody in this airport like an interesting show,
A little show.
And we were like, we're kind of over it.
They were like, everyone's going to stare at you. And we looked around and thought, everyone?
Actually, somebody just popped up, and
That's
then they
exactly
popped
what
back up.
happened. They're like, what are these guys doing over here? Sounds like they listen to music. It's absolutely hilarious. We just flew in. If you don't know, we're in Charlottesville, hanging out with one of our investors, Liza Myers-Borges, some of her crew. We're going to get to see the stores today. We're going to get to see Scott Simons as well, one of our other investors.
Not enough people know about Scott Simons.
No, we actually talked about we might actually have a sit down, have a conversation just so that our community can get to know him.
Have to do an intro.
That'd be a lot of fun. So
Paul's
got his love people more than you love cars.
Oh, yeah, look at this.
Yeah. So
let me tell you a story
about that.
Let me tell you a story about the airport.
Okay, go.
Because the lady checking me into my last flight, she said, "Love people more than you love cabs." She goes, "Like Cabernet." I was like, "Well, we are in the airport. It's the only place you can drink Cabernet at 7:30 a.m. without being judged." She was like, "That's true," and I think she went off to get one. But love people more than you love cars. This is Eliza Borch's like staple phrase, and I made this shirt for the family reunion we had, and it really is indicative of great culture. It's indicative of keeping the focus as the focus, and regardless of what else you're doing. You could fill in the cars part, fill in the blank with anything that your industry is. And in this environment and in this employment scenario, actually, that we're in, we're going to talk about that in a second. Focus on people and focus on caring about them first, more than it is that what you do is the way that you're going to win.
You know what I love about the phrase is it's not love people don't love cars. It's love people more than you love cars. It means that your industry, whatever you do, is extremely important. Like there's this guy, Steve, on LinkedIn that if you kind of are on my post, I love this guy.
I know you're talking about.
He always, some of his content and stuff is kind of jarring and pokes fun at the bear. But what I love that his reminder always is like, hey, yeah, all of that ethereal stuff, but there's still like the core of our business. There's still the things, the blocking and tackling that have to get done. But it's the prioritization level that I think that Liza and so many people in the automotive industry just make sure are in the right order. Right?
In the right order is the part. I mean, in the right order is kind of the story of life. Right. You need the ingredients, right? If you're making something, whatever, it's like that has to be in the right order. When your priorities messed up, if you put profit or cars or politics or fill in the blank in front of the people, you're going to lose. You're going to mess up the recipe. Speaking of, do you have a segue button? Speaking of, there it is. There it is.
We think it's playing. We don't have our in-ears in anymore. We apologize.
But we have the gift. But speaking of, I don't even remember what I was saying, but okay. So talking about the labor shortages, really we're into the summer season, and summer, there are a lot of seasonal businesses, a lot of people that have to staff up for summertime, right? And you go to the beach or you get the ice cream stand.
Or even, ice cream stand or pools or anything that you can think of that's just a summer-oriented business, whether it be students staffing it or anything.
And the
like
Northeast probably understands this more than anybody, right? Because Northeast, the weather opens up in the summertime. And get ready for this Wall Street article journal today is telling us to get ready for a lot of long lines and a lot of closed facilities. You know, if you're kind of saying like, man, service isn't what it used to be, the summer season is only going to exemplify that even more. There's even in places like Phoenix where it's hot all the time, they're estimating that like a third of the public pools are going to be closed.
It's a third of the public pools nationwide. So there's over 300,000 pools nationwide. Only a third of them will not open. In Phoenix, half of the pools are not currently open. This is crazy. I read this morning that the city of Phoenix is offering a $2,500 bonus just to become a lifeguard. So you've got to recognize that no matter what business that you're in, you are up against labor shortages in every single industry, and like the need to have a great employee culture, a great recruiting structure, all of that type of stuff is absolutely necessary. Plus, every consumer is dealing with this. And so there is an expectation level of, okay, so maybe it's going to be a bad experience, but also it's a great opportunity to go above and beyond from an experience perspective.
Oh man, it's so hard to do. I mean, all these factors are coming into play. Like restaurants, hospitality are suffering with this more disproportionately than everybody else for a few reasons. Number one, there's just a lot of jobs. So other industries are hiring, wages are going up. So people are getting out of the hospitality industry where it's a little more of a grind, right? Or maybe they wanted to try something new. Another reason is a lot of people have just exited the workforce in the pandemic and they're not coming back.
Yeah, and it's exiting the workforce both because they have found other means of finding income. There's a lot. I mean, I think it was 3 or 4 months ago, I saw a report of the number of cell phone businesses, so self-employment.
Yeah, the gig economy has changed it big time because now a lot of people, especially if you're a creator, right, you might not have to go back to the workforce. You retreated because of the pandemic, and it accelerated this push that we have. And there's a great, we linked it up in the show notes. There's a term called the SANSdemic by a company. Actually, Darren Doan hooked me up with this company, EMSI, and they call it a SANSdemic. So a pandemic involves everyone. A SANSdemic involves no one. Right, just saying like there are no people. They cite declining birth rates, people leaving the workforce early. They say COVID just accelerated it. It was coming anyway.
Just a lot of articles kind of floating around in my head, but the reality that the birth rate is being outpaced for the first time by the death rate in the world, right? So you actually were like, just at a simple, are there enough people to fulfill the support for everybody? The answer is no.
Not for long. And it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. And, Elon Musk was just saying this. He's like, at this rate, he's like, Italy's going to run out of workers, Wow. I mean, he was saying this, but meanwhile, you hear all this other stuff about there's too many people. So I don't know. We're not here to make sense of that right now because it's a bigger conversation.
All of these things to the opportunity here is care for the people that you already have, in your business, in your company, and recognize that a solid recruiting effort, a real vision, and a mission to come alongside of that people desire to come and work for.
Well, this is now, if you're going to have a good culture, if you're going to love people more than you love cars, having a great culture is going to be disproportionately game changing for the companies that do. And it doesn't matter what you do, right? If you're Chick-fil-A and someone's, do I want to work at Chick-fil-A or do I want to work at Taco Bell, right? Well, you look at the Chick-fil-A culture and people are like, people seem happy there. They seem energetic, right? So if there are a limited number of fast food workers, guess who's going to get a disproportionate amount of them? So it doesn't matter which industry you're in, but company culture, we always say like, yeah, do it for the right reasons, right? And it's kind of built in, but really company culture and an amazing culture as a strategy to survive the next 30 years.
Bar none strategy.
It's
without a doubt. Yeah. I think it's kind of like this table stakes for being in business.
It's gotta be. And here's the thing. People won't stay at a job because you have a ping pong table or some free snacks or unlimited paid time off. They're not going to stay for any of those reasons. They're going to stay because they know you care about them. There's not drama, right? They know you got their back and there's room for growth and improvement, right? And there is in a lot of jobs, but all the other things also exist. So company culture is just, these are just like Kyle said, you can go doom and gloom, or you can go, hey, actually, we love people. We care about people. We want to have a great culture. This is a time to invest in it. And we say invest in it, we mean like literally invest. It does take money too, right? Not just heart.
That's absolutely true. You can't just put words on a paper. You actually have to invest time and money in it.
A lot of people have words on a paper or on a plaque or on a door.
It's like everybody throws the quote up. Everybody puts the plaque up. Everybody puts the company, some sort of.
And I think they're well-intentioned most cases, right?
But there's an actionable effort, both time and money, that goes into creating and crafting a really positive company culture.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of shortages, we can't hear it. There we go. Look, it looks like, and I think we've all known this is coming, but there are continued chip shortages.
Mm-hmm.
But now the concerns are actually over EV battery shortages. So between the suppliers that make the things that go into the
I'm just going to say this. I had a concern about this way before they reported about it on Automotive News. But here we go. They're catching up to us. They're catching up.
Absolutely. So interestingly enough, it looks like, obviously that all the manufacturers go every single year. They pace out every year. And right now, new car manufacturing is it's still about 200,000 vehicles light so far year to date, and we're only talking what? I mean, we're 5 months into the year. That's a significant amount.
Well, that's chips,
yeah, and
right?
that's just on the chips.
That's just the chips. The battery shortage is going to play out. They're like, we might start feeling it real bad in like 23, 24. It's like, oh, we're not feeling it yet.
Well, and that's what's interesting because everybody's pressing to this 2025, 2030.
2030.
Right?
Yeah. Because it needs harmony, and I don't think we can pull it off live.
But when you think about that, it's like, wow, the shortages are going to actually come when everybody's trying to press into the volume of production. I mean, I think Acura came out and said, hey, look, this vehicle coming out of 2024 will be our last gas engine.
That's crazy. And, there's another article linked up in the section in the show notes talking about Hyundai taking a hybrid approach, right? Battery powered hybrids, right? They're saying this is a transition step. And it seems like it might be a really good idea to have a gas powered engine in a lot of your vehicles over the next 3 or 4 years.
I think the hybrid approach in a transition is going to be a really important approach because
That's the only place I've heard about it, though.
Yeah, it really is. Everybody's like full EV, and so Hyundai coming out and saying that, just you can see it in the leaked up notes, but Stellantis has come out and said that they're fearing the EV production can't keep up with the demand. Nissan has actually told their dealers to
Stop taking orders, right?
Because they fear
we're just going to make everybody mad.
This has been a conversation in all things used cars group, but they're fearing that the weight now that people are going to have for these is actually going to reduce the customer experience. It's going to make that a bad experience. So I mean, we've all known that's coming, both in gas, internal combustion, and battery powered. But Nissan actually saying, "Oh, this is getting a little bit out of hand for us."
So, I mean, we're trying to think of like, that's the news. What are you going to do about it? And we say it, we're a little bit broken record. Like, you cannot control what the manufacturer does. What we want to do is keep our heads up so we can be aware of it, keep our heads up so that we can be looking over, but we still need to control the things we can control, right, in our ecosystem. With a lot, hey, we'll just stay on this live stream. That's fine. We'll just share a mic. You don't need that mic anymore. We have technical difficulties. It's fine. We're on one mic now. But controlling the things that you can control, and you can't do anything else but keep your head up, keep your mind up, be flexible, be nimble, right? Because that is, I mean, the new business survivors are the ones that are just agile, period.
Yep.
All right, so let's keep moving now that we're one mic rocking. So, all right, we're going to end this on a little bit of a fun and positive note. So everybody remembers the DeLorean. If you were at NADA, you actually were able to see several versions of a DeLorean. There was a DeLorean in the main hall, and there was a DeLorean at the stadium. One of them actually was battery powered, converted to battery. However, DeLorean, the company, is now about to release what's it called? I can't remember. It's the Alpha E5. The Alpha E5. You can see it. Look at that thing. That car looks amazing. It looks like James Bond should drive that. You see the signature gull wings they have. And, the story of DeLorean is originally it was made in 1981. So you think about 41 years ago. What were you doing 41 years ago?
You don't want to ask that question. I think my mic is in there. Someone give me that thumbs up.
Kyle, I don't know. Kyle was in a different form than you see here.
Oh, we got Isaac on the live stream, guys.
Thank you, Isaac. So the DeLorean in 1981 is when, it came out, the GMC DeLorean. However, that company went bankrupt, and the company that sells the parts, they make and sell replacement parts for the DeLorean, actually bought the rights for the DeLorean name.
It's so smart.
And then they just made an EV.
I know. We talked about this a few months. I'm so excited to come into fruition. I almost I don't think we have any travel plans in August. We should be in. Let's just go to Pebble Beach and go sit in the DeLorean. That would be so much fun.
That would be. You have to come to you live from the DeLorean. It does 0 to 60 in 3.99 seconds. And in case you're wondering, you can get to 88 miles an hour.
There it is.
In 4.35 seconds is all it takes to get to 88. I have one other thing to say about the DeLorean. It's got the gull wings. Oh, it's gone. It was a good thing to say about the DeLorean.
I just think it's cool. It's a shout. This is what's cool is, I mean, you see the DeLorean, you see the Scout, you see all of this stuff coming back because they're taking these shells and going, we can now put parts in there that actually make sense for them to be a part of this like new technology age. And I think this is actually really, really core to a lot of what brands are doing, a lot of what culture is doing in this kind of cyclical nature that auto's never really seen, where like trends always kind of come back. And I think technology allows for trends to come back
right now.
easier.
It is in automotive, without a doubt. I mean, it's nostalgia,
yes.
Right? So you can, because the technology has come about and it's become much more convenient, honestly, right? A battery, a motor, and a brain.
There you go.
Right? And you have a car now. And now it's allowed nostalgia to become part of it without all the other stuff that usually gets in the way. I remember I was going to say, somebody DM'd me on LinkedIn about some kind of NFT project that Delorean is doing, and they saw me at Web3. They were like, "Hey, want to talk about what's going on?" So like, yes, let's talk about what's going on. So there might be an NFT thing about the DeLorean. We're going to try to just finagle ourselves to be right in the middle of it.
Right in the middle of it. Yeah. And that's what's so interesting. And I think OEMs still have to figure this out because they keep pressing into the EV thing, but, and then there's some that are building some stuff in Web3 technology, but, and on, like in Decentraland building actual buildings. But I think the idea
functionality
of it, functionality of tying NFTs, tying communities, tying a brand down to Web3 technology is something that OEMs really need to pay attention to.
No, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of that coming up soon. I mean, DeLorean and the Outsiders are obviously front runners for the first one. I'm surprised we haven't heard anything from Tesla yet about NFTs, but I mean, look, when it comes to NFT and blockchain, we talk about it, we write about it. It's here to stay. It's a part of what your business will be. So, we could pay attention now, right? Or we could just get run over later. Speaking of, we don't have to do another segue, but we know we mentioned this. If you haven't heard it, we are going to have a ASOTUCon.
Yeah.
A ASOTUCon in September 11th through the 13th. Write it down on your calendar right now. We've had like 50 calls with industry partners who are ready, or they're all not ready, but some of them are getting there, right? They're ready to put on something different, the rebirth of the automotive conference. We have so much to talk about, and we've been running so hard on this. But go to ASOTUCon.com, ASOTUCON.com, and just fill out the form so you can be the first to know as we start to release everything. There's a lot coming.
There's a lot. We've got some really interesting, exciting kind of dynamics to how we're going to pour through the content. We've actually got a little site visit planned next week. So it's going to come hard.
I'm super excited about one of the speakers too. We're not going to tell you about who that's going to be yet, but outside automotive, we're bringing outside automotive to inside automotive, and
it's going to be some
pretty meaningful people. So close us out, Kyle.
Sounds good. Thank you guys for hanging out with us in Charlottesville, in the airport. We're swinging mics. It's going crazy today. Go do good in your business and close the month strong.